Today we are driving the new 2024 Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle. So how well does this family hauler perform on the road? That's what we're going to find out in today's video. But as always, let me give you a brief tour of this car before we get it out on the road. The Pacifica has a full blacked out front end with brushed aluminum running around the grille. You also get full functionality and mostly LED headlights with an incandescent turn signal. The wheels will be exclusive to the Pinnacle, measuring in at 20 inches, and you also get a lot of brushed aluminum as moldings and window surrounds. The rear end is unlike any other minivan with a full LED light bar that goes all the way across, and you also get a good amount of space in the cargo area. Let's take a look at that. This is actually the worst amount of space that you get in the class, but it will beat out a lot of SUVs like the Chevrolet Tahoe. Additionally, you have 5 hooks, which is a very practical element of the Pacifica. You also get a power folding third row, which is class exclusive. All of your controls will be located right there, and on the left side is a button to close up the tailgate. Now let's take a look at the rear seats. Thankfully, Chrysler makes it very easy to get into the back of the Pacifica. You can push a button or wave your foot underneath the side of the car to get in. And take a look at these Napa leather seats with quilted diamond stitching. You also can slide them, recline them, and stow them into the ground. The Pinnacle comes with a pillow with Alcantara on one side, so it's very soft to rest your head. To close up the door, you're just going to push the button right there, and take a look at the amount of legroom I have behind the seat that's slid almost all the way back. You can also heat your seats, and every version of the Pacifica comes with a standard sunshade. You also get a lot of amenities like a USB-C port, HDMI port, aux jack, and a tablet on both sides with pre-installed apps like Netflix. You also have cup holders, a lot of storage space, and if you look onto the passenger side, you're going to have a third zone of climate control. It would have been nice to have 4th zone climate control, but they obviously can't fit that with the panoramic sunroof. To get out, you're just going to push the traditional button, and let's take a look at how luxurious the front part of the Pacifica is. It looks like the hands-free access doesn't want to work, so I'm just going to push the button on the door handle. And opening it up, just take a look at that. They actually went backwards in materials for 2024, but you still have the same Napa leather seats, except you get brushed aluminum instead of wood. You also get an umbrella holder, 12-way power adjusting seats that are heated and ventilated. Taking a look up front, we have a very thick steering wheel, and we also will have our headlight controls down there. Very easy to use, pretty lights, and we have a traditional gauge cluster. You have a center display and 2 analog gauges. Nothing special, but I would like to see full digital. All of your climate controls will be right there, and you also can customize the widgets in the Uconnect 5 system. You also get wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a Wi-Fi hotspot. I love to see all of this customization you can do with the Pacifica. Additionally, you get a lot of vehicle settings and controls like folding down the third row headrest and going into the fam cam, which allows you to see through rear-facing car seats, and if there's one naughty child in the family, you can focus in on that one seat. You also get the rest of your climate controls through here, and it's fairly easy to use. However, Chrysler does not give you the option to heat or ventilate your seat with a physical button. You have to go into the screen for that. You also will get a full 360-degree backup camera with pretty good resolution and a lot of different angles. You also get a wireless phone charger, infinite USB ports, and a lot of storage like that little storage tray right there, and a good amount of storage underneath the armrest. Additionally, there is a panoramic sunroof up top and all of your controls to open the doors. But I know that you're waiting to see how this performs on the road, so let's go ahead and get into that. So first, pulling out of the dealership, this Pacifica is very low to the ground, and you feel that. This is 5.1 inches off the ground, so expect that you're eventually going to scrape this on the curb somewhere. But this does a good job of getting up to speed, and I heard that it is very comfortable and smooth to drive. I can also feel that from the backseat. Even though we're riding on 20-inch alloy wheels, I still can feel that this is very smooth and comfortable. And I imagine that the V6 is very smooth as well. This is surprisingly quiet, despite the fact that we have 20-inch alloy wheels on board. This is pretty big for a minivan because the Odyssey and Carnival top out at 19, and the Sienna you can get 20s if you go front wheel drive. This Pacifica Pinnacle is all-wheel drive and you still get 20s, which is a nice feature to have. Now I was expecting more. I know that the Honda Odyssey is a lot louder than this, wind noise and tire noise, and I haven't tested out the Kia Carnival yet, so we're going to have to see how that compares, but I'm hearing that our Toyota Sienna is slightly quieter than this. We own a Sienna, so we know what it's like to live with the Sienna. I'm not quite sure if there's more sound deadening for the Pinnacle model, but the Sienna was quieter. We drove our Sienna to the dealership today, and we're driving the Pacifica now, and I can confirm that it is quieter. Also, if you check out Car Confections, they did a test, and the Pacifica was actually about a decibel louder than the Sienna. We're about to go onto the highway, and we're going to put this 3.6-liter V6 to the test and see how well it delivers for fuel economy and the acceleration. We have a 9-speed automatic, and it is actually kind of a lazy transmission. If you listen, you're gonna hear that it kind of has a big revving noise that it makes, and then it's very slow to shift, and it's just going to hold a gear for a very long time. I don't know if that's the best thing to have, but my dad said when driving that there was something off about the transmission, and I think that it is probably a very lazy transmission. Of course, our Sienna is a CVT, so you're never going to hear it or feel it shift. But let's see what this Pacifica has got. If you didn't notice this, go ahead and skip back to the first part of the acceleration clip. Did you hear how long it took for the Pacifica to shift? I don't know if that's intentional or not, maybe for fuel economy, but that is very strange to my ears, and it actually isn't a very pleasant sound. But besides that, it actually does a pretty good job of getting up to speed. Just because of that transmission, that is causing it to actually trail the acceleration speed of the Honda Odyssey that has 7 less horsepower than this, and I'm sure they're gonna have to do something about that because that transmission sounds really strange, and I don't know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but it's not anything that I've heard before. But cruising around the highway over these big bumps, this is still very smooth, doesn't let in that much of a rattle or any kind of jostle, so the ride quality is a thumbs up from me, and the overall smoothness of this car is very good. Now, I can't really say if the Pacifica or our own Sienna is smoother. I think it's pretty close, but Chrysler has definitely done a very good job when it comes to the ride quality and the handling of this car. So we're getting off the exit here, and we're just going to turn around and get a second acceleration and handling test, and we're going to see how this Pacifica performs. So for those of you out there that want a relatively quick minivan, but still want to have a lot of cool amenities and a good amount of space in all 3 rows, this Pacifica might be the one for you. You have a lot of features that the other minivans don't. You have stow and go, you have this extra luxury trim, the Pinnacle, and let's go ahead and take this Pacifica on a tight corner and see how this handles. So we're getting back up to speed, flooring the gas, and then taking the corner. Okay, there is some body roll. I can actually see it from the footage itself, and I remember it. But there was some body roll, and it's not the best handling car, but it's definitely not too bad. If you're comparing this to the Chevrolet Tahoe, and if you're cross-shopping to the Chevrolet Tahoe, this will handle better than that. The Tahoe just can't even handle at all. It feels like it's gonna flip over, to be honest. But this Pacifica, not bad. But like I was saying, you have this extra luxury trim known as the Pinnacle, and It's actually really nice inside. It's a lot nicer than you would imagine. For 2024, they have actually gone backwards because they deleted the third row sunroof. Now there's just a random cutout. They changed the trim from wood to brushed aluminum. I don't know how I feel about that. And I'm sure that there are going to be a lot of cutting back on parts and things like that in the coming years. So I'm not really sure what everybody else thinks of that. I'm not a fan of the brushed aluminum on the inside. Enough is enough, and they've definitely put enough on the exterior. And no third row sunroof. That's crazy. That was a class exclusive feature. They definitely need to add that back. But to wrap up the driving review, we're about to get back to Suburban Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Huge shout out to them. They are an awesome dealership, and they will do their best to get you into the car that you want. But as for this video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.